all of our officials do a tremendous job. They really do. But for having our third game where a critical point in the game, we collide with an official in the dead corner, there's a problem with that. The game has changed. There's no longer two players standing high up on the wings. Teams run, just like Golden State, San Antonio, Houston, we're no different. And you fill the deep corners. And it's my understanding that they've taken the last two times that we've run over an official and clipped it and sent it out to the officials about getting out of the way, getting down the floor. These are athletes, and guys are fast. And I'm just looking at a tape where, again, at a critical point in the game, we get a key player on our team hurt that comes back and tries to play, and it's 48-40. He can't play anymore because of a collision with an official. That's just not right. The game is different now. It's faster. The floor is filled. The corners are filled a lot quicker, and we've got to get that piece figured out as a league. We got to get it figured out as an officiating group. I'm on a basketball committee, and I'm certainly going to talk about it. The game has changed. Now, maybe they need to run different lanes. I don't know or what. But that's very unusual for that to happen three times in the last four games. And it's unfortunate, again, because I said, again, they're at critical points. With that being said, I thought we had a terrific first half. And for Malachi, one of the better games he played, but it was almost to a fault. He played so well that our offense became stagnant because he was in such a zone. And then all of a sudden, the second half, when they made some adjustments and that offense of rhythm need to move and cut and do some things, we got stranded a little bit offensively, where thought we got stagnant, I should say, and didn't move as well. And it cost us. It really did. It cost our rhythm out on the floor. I thought defensively, we did a really good job in the first half. We were outstanding defensively against Reed Travis and what we needed to do against him. But with Viante out of the game, I really had to rely on Quentin Henson, Carter Skaggs, two players that have not played against Stanford and all the offense they run, and not played against the Stanford team and their veteran players, and they cost us defensively a few times at the other end of the floor in the second half of that game just by not rotating out of position and those types of things. So, again, it's one of those games where UCLA, you're up in the second half without Drick. You played well in spurts in the game. Washington, you had control of the game to the last 3 minutes. This game, you're up in the game playing well, and then V goes out. We are a good basketball team. We're just not an experienced basketball team. And at key moments in the game, it cost us, and it really does too. And the reason it cost us, I've used the word all along about toughness. The toughness is mental toughness, where we forget to rotate, or you don't rotate as hard, you forget to block out, you don't block out as hard, and an experienced player rotates quicker, drives it quicker, rebounds it harder, and it costs you over the course of a 40-minute game if you have any kind of slippage. That's where we're breaking down right now with this team in this conference that's so tough. That should answer all your questions unless you have some more.
Drick kind of talked about talking about the turnovers. He said there's not much that the coaching staff can do at this point. The players have to kind of take over. Did you feel that way too?
That's a good question, actually. With Drick with 6, Robo with 7, with 22 turnovers against a team that doesn't pressure you. They had 4 steals in the game, so that means you had 18 unforced turnovers, which gave them 24 points. That's a lot of points to give a team like Stanford, and more importantly than giving them the points, it's shots you don't get, particularly in a game where you got a guy like Malachi that's hot and you were in a great rhythm in the first half. So that's us. That's not officiating. That's not Stanford. That's us. And those two guys are too good a player to turn the ball over like that. I didn't think either one of them had particularly good games, and yet you're still right there in control of the game late.
And it was kind of a pick-your-poison type of game where you take away Travis. I think the only game this year he hadn't scored double digits, but then you kind of give Pickens a few more shots out there.
Yeah, but taking away him was huge because we've taken 2 teams. I think one of the things you guys always talk to me about is the rebounding. And we've dominated 2 teams on the glass here with what we're doing defensively and what we're doing rebounding-wise. Pickens just had a monster game. It had nothing to do with Reed. That had to do with our guards. He just dominated our guards. That went back to last year where we had a hard time defending. Any tough guard kind of came at us. And I got to look at tape, but as I can recall right now, I felt like we were slow rotating to get to him. That last 3 he hit was a great example. They down screen on Milan, and it's only one guy on the floor you got to guard, and that's Pickens. And to not get out on him and have him shoot a 3, that was a huge play in the game. There's that experience again. But he had a he had a terrific game. He doesn't shoot the ball that well all the time, but he made the difference in the game tonight.
I was asking kind of a similar question. How did you take Travis Reed out of the game? Was it part of your game plan, or did it just?
You know, it was part of our game plan to double him, and about a third of the way through the first half, we felt like we didn't need to do that anymore. And the reason for that is Jeff Pollard is a really, really good basketball player and defender. Drick Bernstein, really strong basketball player, defender. We can match their strength inside. In fact, we're a little bit stronger inside when you combine Drick and Robo and put Jeff in there, and felt like we offset some of his toughness in there, and we were able to keep him under wraps. So he didn't hurt us. Their bigs didn't hurt us. The game got away from us with the game, obviously, that Pickens had. That's way too many points, particularly in the first half. We gave him way too many points.
Coach has 22 turnovers tonight. I think it was 24 on Saturday. 2 games where lots of turnovers, but you dominate the glass. In talking about mental toughness and mental mistakes, what does the coaching staff do? What do the players do to start limiting those turnovers and turn those offensive rebound opportunities into more points?
You have faster birthdays. You move the year quicker so they get older. So freshmen turn to sophomores, sophomores turn to juniors, juniors turn to seniors, and all of a sudden you've got the older, veteran, crafty team that knows how to handle themselves, and they're more composed. As a coaching staff, there's not a lot you can do. You can't speed up the process of experience. You have to let it take its course. So my thing with players is to come at your own pace as long as you come. And at some point in time, you'd hope through these games, the adversity of these games, they start to figure some things out, which they have, which is why in spurts, we dominate these teams. We run these teams. The ball moves. We defend. We rebound. We block out. We score. And then all of a sudden, a fatigue factor will hit in, and that mental toughness of being able to grind out a game for 40 minutes on a possession-by-possession basis. Your senior is going to beat my freshman, sophomore, or new JC player every single time, because seniors know how to do that. They've been through the fires. They've been through the grind, and they just out-tough you, and that's just going to take time for us to get there, unfortunately.
Coach, what was the reasoning behind Robo sitting the final 4 minutes? I know he did have 4 fouls.
You know, I've been coaching the game for 30 years, and if you had been around me for a season or 3 or 4 seasons, I'm going to know when you're in rhythm and out of rhythm. And I called my assistant after our walkthrough this afternoon and said, Robo didn't look right to me. He didn't seem right. He's out of whack. And sure enough, he was out of whack in the game. Just didn't have touch, didn't have feel, bobbling the ball, opportunities around the bucket, not scoring, not shooting it, catching it and hesitating for whatever reason. I don't know. I mean, that's something I got to talk to him about, figure out how his day was, what happened. Did he have something happen in the classroom? I don't know. But for whatever reason, he was out of rhythm in the game. So it wasn't so much about me sitting him, about him sitting himself with the way he was performing. And we tried to get Q out there. We tried to get Arenze out there. You tried to get with V not on the floor, Robo not performing. I'm grasping now to get somebody on that floor that can give me some points and give me a little bit more rhythm. And we came back to Milan, and he kind of broke the ice a little bit, started penetrating, driving to the hole. But I thought we had a lot of scoring opportunities around the bucket that we didn't take advantage of.
Coach, you had quite a few offensive fouls in this game, and there being a lot of offensive fouls called in general. You'd mentioned earlier that both teams are big and physical, and a lot of those were coming in the post. Did you have any problem with some of those offensive fouls being called at all?
No. I think, again, the game has ebbs and flows to it, and at times officials, we have to adjust and adapt to what they're doing, and the game should be consistently called. This was a physical game. There are a lot of charges. There's a lot of fouls in the paint because they're big and strong. Drick is strong. Arenze, Robo, Jeff is strong. Malachi was getting to the hole, and they were switching and putting their big guys on their guard because they had such a hard time with their pick and roll play in the middle of the floor. And then all Malachi had to do is get them off balance and get into their body. Those are fouls. They are fouls both ways. So I don't have a problem with how the game was called because the game was called fairly. They were calling them on both ends of the floor because two teams were playing physical, and they were driving and we were driving. Where I have a problem is the key point in the game we run over an official, and I lose a key player, our most consistent player, and it knocks my offense out of rhythm. That's where I have the problem.
Do you have any updates on Beyonce?
None. Haven't had a chance to see him. I've been here talking to you guys.